This is Karen on newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with.
I saw you reading that, Karen. It's What in the World with Paul Seaburn. You didn't remember it?
No, is
No,
that what it's called?
I think so. I'm looking at myself. I'm either looking at a mirror or I'm looking at the camera. Yes. Hi, Karen. That's Karen Hale up there, the owner and mogul and producer of What in the World and NewClevelandRadio.net and all that good stuff. And somewhere on the screen is John Dinallo, our co-host and color commentator. Hi, John.
Oh, hi, Paul. Hi, Karen. Another
Hey,
week.
how are you?
I'm
Another
good.
week, we're
Oh,
here with What in the World, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. This is your little corner to come and escape from the bad news and the political news and the all the rest of that news that you shouldn't be listening to or watching anyways. Come and
Absolutely.
visit us for an hour. We talk about strange things that are real, that we have fun with, um, have some laughs. If it doesn't sound funny to you, wait a minute. I got another story. That's how it works here at What in the World.
Absolutely.
We're on the illustrious newclevelandradio.net platform. If you go there, click on my name, you see all the places where you can download our podcast. You can find us on YouTube. If you're watching us live, and I understand that we may have some guests live that Karen will be notifying us of as they come and go. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if take a look at, I'm on Facebook, New Cleveland Radio's on Facebook. Visit us there. I try out some of the stuff that we'll be talking about, and I'll throw in my day job at mysteriousuniverse.org, where I'm the editor and head writer. And some of the stories that, in fact, some of the stories you'll be hearing about today, particularly when I talk about Bigfoot and UFOs, come from there. But the weird news comes from my head.
Well, I have a challenge for you today.
Oh,
See,
holy smoke.
I haven't even told you about this, but
Oh,
starting next week, once a month, we're going to have another comedy show on
oh,
called Ask Aunt Frida.
ask
And,
Aunt
and
Frida. Oh,
you
I
can
hate
ask,
her already. Oh,
yeah,
no, it sounds like fun.
yeah, you can ask her any question about, um,
Anything?
dating and all those fun things as we get older.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. So we better be funny today because I know Aunt Frida's gonna be funny next week.
Pressure is on. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
used to pressure.
Okay.
John, you better be ready there because I'm gonna need some moral support there for.
I'll be happy to help you, Paul. You
That's
know
right.
that.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
can't
hey,
let Aunt Frida get all the laughs on
That's
well,
New Cleveland
yeah,
Radio.
we have to
That's
have
right.
equal time here. We have to have equal time. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
now stuff, okay? We got. Let me tell you what we're going to be talking about. This will blow your socks right off, or whatever it is you wear around your ankles. But that sounds terrible. I'm sorry, Aunt Frida. So today, what do we have? We've got some weird animals as always. There was a worm NATO seen in New Jersey, so we're going to find out about that and some other swirling animals. Um, a guy found Bigfoot's big thumb in Florida, so we're going to tell. I've got some pictures of that. We'll talk about that. Um, for Star Trek fans, there's a famous movie, the second movie where the Genesis device was unveiled. So we're going to talk about that. Turns out there's a space scientist who wants to create a real Genesis device. So we're going to see if he can do it and why it's a dumb idea based on what happened in the movie. We're going to talk about some singing robots, how you can win a dead murder hornet, not just any kind of hornet. You can get the hornets anywhere. A dead murder hornet, yeah. Um, I got a little bit more information, inside information on that ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal, how it really got freed. Oh, you'll love this, Karen. And then John's got another weird sport as always. And I've got some world records. We got some more trivia. Um, and of course, before we go, we always play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. So yeah, it's important to stick around until the end. You can participate in that as well. So let's get
Absolutely.
right to it. Um, right off the bat, this one, this was a popular story on my Facebook page. If I hear a lot of people saying that the United States should be more like Sweden and those Scandinavian countries. Well, it's particularly Sweden. Well, let me tell you, I'm not sure we want to be like Sweden because of this particular story. There are a number of pizza parlors in Sweden, which sounds strange to begin with, but I guess pizza is universal, right, John? Pizza, you Italians have conquered the world with pizza.
As it's been said many times, it's the universal food.
It is the universal food. That's
Yes,
right.
it is.
I thought pierogies were, but I guess we'll go with pizza for this story.
I think so.
So they have something in Sweden called the Tropicana pizza. And I'm going to show you a picture of it as I give you the ingredients. The Tropicana pizza has, let's see, tomato sauce, cheese, ham, pineapple, curry, and what you can see scattered all over it, Karen, bananas. Bananas on a pizza. That's right. Bananas on a pizza. Yes, I find it hard to believe too. No. I find it even harder to stomach. John, would you eat a banana pizza?
I just think there's something against, my principles.
Well, I know right off the bat, many people will be objecting to those two utensils sitting on that pizza, a fork and a knife. It's against at least New York rules, from what I can understand, to eat pizza with anything but your hands.
Right.
Even though that looks like it's sliced into big slices that could be folded and stuffed into the face. But why would you do that with bananas?
Oh. and curry.
Yeah, and curry. That's just not the combination I would think of. So as far as I'm concerned, there's a new definition of Swedish meatball. That's people who order bananas on their pizzas. I would be embarrassed to ask for this in a restaurant. I want bananas on my pizza. I wouldn't eat it in the parlor. I'd get my banana pizza and I'd split. It's not. I know. I was long set up for that one. We'll get them out of the way. And free to top that. And what's terrible is I love bananas, and the lovely Donna accuses me sometimes of channeling Elvis Presley, because Elvis also loved bananas. What was his famous sandwich, Karen?
Peanut butter and banana.
Peanut butter and banana. That's what fried.
Yeah.
Not just peanut butter, fried peanut butter and bananas. And I didn't know this. I looked it up to make sure I had it right. He also put bacon on it, and occasionally honey, which then I don't know if I don't have a picture of that, but I have some other combination. And that was the normal Elvis. Like if you're ordering this at the Elvis Subway, you get the banana, peanut butter, bacon, and honey fried. Okay. If you want the full Elvis, the super Elvis, he would add a club. He'd make it a club, the banana club. Yeah. The Elvis Club sandwich, which also had lettuce, brown sugar, and lemon juice, along with the bananas, peanut butter, and bacon, which is now starting to sound like the banana pizza.
Yeah, it is.
But to top that, there's a story that I had no idea existed of something called the Fool's Gold Loaf. Fool's Gold Loaf. I'm going to put a picture of this up while I describe what exactly it is. This was made at the Colorado Mining Company in Denver. The sandwich, that is an entire loaf of bread that was hollowed out and filled with one jar of creamy peanut butter, one jar of grape jelly, and a pound of bacon.
Oh.
Now, why do I bring this up? Because Elvis Presley, one time when he heard about this, he loaded his entourage onto his private plane. John, I'm going to throw in a trivia question here. Do you know what the Elvis's private plane was called?
Boy, Paul, I don't. I'm sorry. I can't hazard a guess on that one. Sorry.
So Lisa Marie, that was
Oh,
his
his daughter's
wife,
name, right, yeah.
named after his wife. So
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
she was on the plane, by the way. So he takes his aunt to Raj. They fly to Denver. They go to this restaurant. They order 30 of these. 30.
oh my God.
Yeah. And then they stayed there until they ate them all, and they washed them down with champagne and Perrier for those who didn't want to imbibe. And if that's not enough, so then they got on the plane, they flew back. So can you top this? Of course, someone topped it. There's a place in Kansas City, Missouri, called the Succotash Restaurant, which sells a 3-pound version of this with 3 pounds of bacon, 3 pounds, 3 jars of jelly, 3 jars of peanut butter inside a huge, absolutely monstrous, that was featured. This is one of those, if you can eat it, you get a T-shirt and you don't have to pay your bill. It was featured on the cooking channel Man vs. Food, one of the most disgusting shows on television, and yet addictive.
Wow.
John, would you eat that? Would you even attempt to eat that?
No, I would not attempt it. It just doesn't look appetizing. I mean, to me,
No, it doesn't.
Not even a taste. I would taste it.
No, I'll leave it to
Cholesterol
someone
speak.
else. Yeah.
I know it. I'd like to see what bacon and peanut butter actually taste like together. I've had peanut butter and hamburger. In fact, at a restaurant, for anyone here from listening from the Cleveland area, there used to be a restaurant in either in Avon or Lorraine called the Goulardi Restaurant, and one of their specialties was a peanut butter on burger. I guess that's what it's called. Okay, we'll move on. I'll get that out of your way in a minute, Karen, but be prepared for the next picture.
Oh,
So
no.
we love to talk about world records on What in the World. So here's our world record for the week. An Ontario boy set a Guinness World Record after his dentist extracted his baby tooth, which measured 1.02 inches, just over an inch, making it the world's longest baby tooth or milk tooth. So John, I want you to take a gaze at that tooth right there. That's on a Canadian dollar. So that's an inch, just over an inch worth of tooth. The poor Tooth Fairy, number one, had to take out a loan to put under the kid's pillows. And then had back problems after trying to fly and carry that back to wherever the Tooth Fairy carried. We talked about the Tooth Fairy last week, so I don't want to even get into that. So the kid's smiling. It must not have hurt too bad, but an inch, can you imagine?
I mean, they had to go into his sinus passage.
I would think so. He does have a gap right where his nose is. So
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Were his other baby teeth that long?
But that's what I was about to say, John. I don't know why exactly he had the tooth extracted, other than maybe it wasn't supposed to be that long. And the dentist looked at his x-ray and said, "Ah!" And then right after that, he called his boat dealer and ordered a new boat because he had to charge a fortune for this.
Wow.
Can you imagine getting a root canal on a tooth that long?
Oh God.
Oh,
No.
that would it would take all
Amazing.
day. But of course, John, you were on the right track there. You even baby teeth you're supposed to take care of. Kids are supposed to brush them. You're not supposed to get cavities. You're not supposed to say what we used to say. They'll fall out. Hand me another Hershey bar. Because I have a picture of what happens when you do that. And that's what Now, for those who aren't watching on YouTube, I have a picture of in Cleveland, we called him the Papa Umau Mau guy, which is a man who was able to swallow his own nose. It's a very famous picture from a very famous video. There's a name for what he does. It's
Is it gurning? Is it gurning?
Yeah, that's it, John. Thank you very much.
Sure.
John pulls the trivia out of his tooth hole there.
Yeah.
So, John, let's see if you can do 2 in a row here. when we watched Ghoulardi when we were kids, he would play a song along with this man moving his mouth up and down. Do you remember what that song was? Oh, I said the song. That was the Papa Uma Mau song.
Yeah, it was
Who
the
did
Papa
that song?
Song. Sure, sure.
Do you remember who did that song? What band that was?
No, I don't know that.
That was the Rivingtons. The Rivingtons. They also did The Bird is the Word, The Bird, and both of those appeared on their album, which I think I have here, Doing the Bird.
Oh, wow. Love it.
Doing the Bird. So some other, Karen, look at that. You're the music person here. Look at some of the other songs on here. The Happy Jack, The Love Pill, Kickapoo Joy Juice, Long Tall Sally. That, I would have liked to heard that. Their version of that. Standing in the Love Line. Oh, well, I don't know about that. And You Are My Sunshine. Papa Umau Mau, Mama Umau Mau, and You Are My Sunshine, all on one fabulous album. But if you act now, you also get this trivia question. Who covered that song, John? Do you remember what other bands covered Papa Umau Mau?
No, I don't.
Okay, I have two. Karen, I'm not going to ask you because you got that look on your face.
Yeah.
The Trashmen covered it first. I mentioned the Trashmen for one particular reason. They were a surf band out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
There's no surfing in Minneapolis.
No, very good, Karen. How does a surf band start in Minneapolis, Minnesota? I have no idea.
No.
Now, it was also covered by the world's greatest surf band, and that was the Beach Boys. They covered this song. The Rivingtons went on to fame and fortune. They appeared on L.A. Law. They couldn't appear as the Rivingtons, so they had to appear as some other band. And they appeared on Night Court. Yeah, they were Mac, the guy who was the bailiff, or no, he was something. He had some job there. He was in a band, and they played the band that he was in. I know. Oh, and so how do you do the bird, Karen? Here, they even came with instructions.
Are you serious?
Doing the bird.
Oh my gosh.
I tried to find a GIF that showed them dancing the bird. It's kind of doing the mashed potato, all those weird dances we used to do. For those who don't have them, it can't see the picture. All those weird dances your parents and grandparents used to do, mixed together, and that became the bird.
Wow.
Now, some animals, the different animal besides the bird is the dolphin. And this story comes from California, where a dolphin stampede, 1,000 dolphins, that qualifies as a stampede. I'm going to put a picture of them up here. In a charter boat, Orange County by Los Angeles, 1,000 of them swimming past this charter boat. What's even more amazing is that there was a charter boat out, because I didn't think we were allowed to do those kinds of things, but apparently you can. So could be that the dolphins were there yelling at the people to put their mask on.
Probably. Yep.
And they were called a stampede because they were going all in the same direction. Had they been going in circles, they would have been called a dolphinado, which leads us to our next story, which I mentioned about the wormnado. And those I definitely have a picture of. So I'm going to put up a picture of a wormnado as I discuss. This comes from Hoboken, New Jersey. Some people walked outside after a rainstorm, and they looked at the sidewalk, and they saw what appears to be hundreds and hundreds of worms, which you normally see on the sidewalk and in the street after rain, but in a massive quantity, going around in a circle. Now, no one had seen this. They actually had to bring in wildlife experts and ask them what they thought. Some people said it was the plague that was causing it. It was a wormhole they were being sucked into. There was a full moon that night, the second full moon in March. Aliens, of course, we got to blame aliens. one thing that I think that there was another, I couldn't find a picture of it, but there were also robins going around in circles, chasing the worms and getting drunk and dizzy and falling over. I would have liked to see that. But they couldn't figure out what it was. One scientist said that that there must have been a drain nearby, and the worms were in water, and it was swirling towards the drain. But I don't see a drain in this picture anywhere.
No.
And then they to escape having to explain it, they said, well, we need to know what kind of worms they are. If we don't know what kind of worms they are, so I here's the only kind of worms I know are these kind of worms here, which come in a can. These are. I have a picture of the worms that you get at Deli for Less down the street over here at the corner of my street. You can buy worms if you want to go fishing. Pick up some chip chop ham and some cheese and some worms and go fishing.
Now, why do they sell worms in Brecksville, Ohio? Where are you going to go fishing near here?
Well, Karen, now we do have creeks, and we are very close to the Cuyahoga River. Or maybe we have worm connoisseurs who like to cook them. I don't really know.
Okay.
But those are the worms that I'm used to.
Yeah.
Good looking worms, John. Right? This was.
If you're a fisherman, you'd like to have that. You'd like to have that.
Why they sell them at the deli, I don't know. I've never figured that out.
Fat, juicy red worms.
Yeah. So when animals go in a circle, it's a NATO. So we go to Siberia for our next story, and where they have reindeer NATOs. Now, I have a nice picture of that, Karen. You'll enjoy this one. And they're actually moving here. So that is probably a few hundred reindeer circling something. And you don't normally see pictures like this because people are on the ground. But it turns out that a veterinarian had a drone, and he was taking pictures of these reindeer from the drone, and that's when they started swirling around.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I have another one here that from a different angle. There, now you can see even more reindeer.
Wow.
These herds, reindeer in Siberia, can reach up to 500,000 animals in a herd. And this is a defensive move that they make. They get spooked by something and they start swirling, they start running in circles. And who's gonna attack, thousands and thousands of reindeer running around in circles with those horns swinging away. What caused this particular one was not a bear or anything like any natural enemy of the reindeer. It was the veterinarian himself. He was there to give them vaccinations, and they were so afraid of getting a shot that they went in circles, and they had, it took it was worse than going down to get your COVID shot. They had to chase after them and pin them down and give them their vaccination.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Now, the animal that I'd like to see running in circles is Bigfoot, who could actually run, because they have 2 feet. So I've got a couple of Bigfoot stories from the news this week. The best one, though, is this guy in Florida. His name is Connor Flynn. He's a Bigfoot researcher and the author of Bigfoot, Big Brother Bigfoot. He posted a video of him holding this thing right here. I've got a picture of it up here. It's a bone. Now, he identified it as a thumb bone, but it's far bigger than his own thumb. So he said, well, if it's bigger than my thumb, it must be a Bigfoot. That's, the Bigfoot logic there for you. And it was fossilized. So this was an ancient Bigfoot. Found it in a creek in Marianna, Florida, which is in the Panhandle area. And that's what he said. It's a fossilized Bigfoot thumb. So if this guy's a real Bigfoot expert, the 3 of us would certainly tell him to go have it tested, Okay, do a DNA test on it. You're a Bigfoot expert. Go find out if it really is. Of course, they didn't do that. So I'm a little concerned about this, what this guy's saying.
Maybe it belongs to a basketball player.
I'm not even going there, Karen. It is fossilized, so it'd have to be a caveman basketball.
Oh.
Who they move really slow, kind of like Gonzaga did last night. But since you brought up basketball, that's what it was. Yeah, it was just a thumb from a Gonzaga player, former Gonzaga player. So, anyways, while we're waiting for the DNA result, I've got another Bigfoot to show you. Now, this one comes from Virginia, and this comes from someone who wanted to buy a house in a neighborhood. So he went to Google Maps, and he's looking at a house, and that he had his eye on. And in one of the pictures, he sees this, Karen and John, and he says, "Oh, this is a naked Bigfoot."
No.
I'm holding up I've got a picture displayed of something that, if it's Bigfoot, it has not only no clothes but also no hair.
Yeah.
Which is very unusual. as regular listeners of this show know, Bigfoot is hairy. You don't get to see his skin, his or her skin, or any of their organs, or anything that you would see. So this kind of looks like it might be a person, but this guy swore that it was Bigfoot. It was not a person.
Well, Paul, let me offer this. It's a grainy photo, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. So that means it could be Bigfoot, because we all know, if you listen to this show, Bigfoot has special powers that when it senses a camera nearby, it immediately sends out these rays that causes it to be distorted. So, John, you're right. That could be a sign that this really is Bigfoot. Now, my question is, which would you rather have in the neighborhood you're about to move into? Bigfoot or this naked thing running around? I would go with Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot would help my property value far more than whatever it is that's running around here. Now I mentioned on the show, since we're talking about Bigfoot, I mentioned a number of times the politician who was into Bigfoot porn. His name is Denver Riggleman. So the Bigfoot porn unfortunately caused him to lose his congressman job. He was an actual U.S. congressman, lost his job, but he got featured in the New York Times on Sunday. I couldn't believe it. So now he's legitimate. They did a story about him. He's doing, and I think I have mentioned this, he's doing an expose on conspiracy theories. So here's a guy who believes in Bigfoot, but he doesn't believe in Q, which is the big conspiracy that he's working on, which is kind of like believing in the Easter Bunny, but not believing in chocolate bunnies, or believing in Star Trek, but not believing that man landed on the moon. And that's my segue into my little segment here on Star Trek. I'm going to take that down, Karen, so you don't have to look at
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it.
The naked Bigfoot anymore there. So this is from, I like to call this file the what could possibly go wrong file. It's an astrobiologist in England wants to create a Genesis device. Now, the Genesis device came from John. You're not a big Star Trek fan, are you?
I like Star Trek, but I'm not a huge fan.
Okay, so I'll spare you some of the trivia. Karen, how about you?
I am not a Trekkie at all.
Not a Trekkie at all. Okay. So for the Trekkie fans who might be listening, the Genesis device, and you'll know, came from the second Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan. And what they would do is they would shoot this thing down at a dead planet, and within a matter of it would completely transform the planet. In a matter of hours, it would be completely covered with forest and animals and all kind of stuff. And then people could go down there and live. What you didn't want to do is shoot the Genesis device at some place that already had life on it, because then all heck would break loose. So, and that's of course what happened. So the Genesis device was invented by Dr. Carol Marcus. Now, she's famous because she had an affair with Captain Kirk, and the result of the affair was David Marcus, their son, who is also a doctor and also her partner on building this device. So anyways, I explain, I say, and Khan, of course, John, you remember Khan from Star Trek?
Yes, played by Ricardo Montalban.
Ricardo Montalban. Can you name two other shows that Ricardo was the star of?
Oh,
Or two other things that he's famous for? Again, one is a show and one is a commercial.
the commercial for the LeBaron?
I think you have the right car manufacturer, but the different what was he pitching? The genuine
Corinthian leather.
Corinthian leather, which is a completely made up thing, came from a factory in New Jersey. His other show, he was Mr. Rourke on with Tattoo. I am Mr. Rourke. Welcome to Fantasy Island.
I had a brain lock on that, Paul. Sorry, I had a brain lock.
Oh, that's okay. We'll give you too much Easter food. I know.
There you go. There you go.
So this astrobiologist is from University of Edinburgh, wants to do this for real on dead planets, like the moon, technically, I guess, would qualify as a dead planet. So he wants to shoot this thing at it and see if he can terraform it and grow things on it. It takes 1,000 years, which is fortunate because I think it's a scary thing. What happened, and that's what happened. That's what killed Mr. Spock. Spoiler alert here in the second movie is Khan stole the Genesis device and he was going to shoot it at a planet that had living people on it and cause all kind of destruction. And Spock stopped him. He did something and it killed Spock. So at the very end, they found another planet and they shot Spock's body down there and it landed on the planet and Spock came back to life. And there you go. I just ruined 3 movies for you. 40-year-old movies, people. I'm sorry.
Didn't ruin it for me.
So that ship in the Suez Canal, it's not blocked anymore. Okay. So, and when I say spoonbender, everybody knows that I'm talking about Uri Geller, who is the world famous spoonbender. He's been around so long, he appeared on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, he's been bending spoons a long time. It's a trick, Karen, by the way. I can show you how to do it. I'm not going to do it on camera because that would break my vow of magic.
Okay.
So anyway, so Uri, he tells people that he bends spoons with his mind. So last week he said, not only can I bend spoons, but he's Israeli, by the way. So that's my Israeli accent. Sorry. Not only can I bend spoons, I move the ship with my mind power. Which is what took you so long. I know it was a big ship, but just in case, they need to inspect that ship to see if there's a container full of flatware that's now bent, because that would be proof right there that he did it. But that, I can just see him. What he's doing that brain power and grunting, like he just ate a lot. He's in the bed. Like,
yep.
Just moving that ship with his brain. Maybe it's just my brain that does that. So anyway, I had a vacuum story for you, Karen. They've invented. By the way, I'll mention this for those who haven't listened to the show before. Karen owns a couple of robotic vacuums and has not had good luck with them. So whenever I find a vacuum story, I always like to.
I appreciate it.
I know you do. That's exactly why I do it. So they've invented a vacuum cleaner that can pick up human DNA. So forget dog hair and dust. It actually picks up human DNA, which I think is a great idea. Because what you do is you call the police, you do a 911, and you say, that murderer you guys are looking for, I think he was in my house. You better come and check it out. So they come in with their DNA vacuum cleaner and they completely clean your house for you.
What a great idea.
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about getting your and I'm not going to mention the name of your Roomba, but your robotic vacuum cleaner, and you can just call the police and they'll vacuum the place for you. Not a bad idea, is it, John?
No.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Here's another idea that's not bad. Speaking of robots, there's this, I've mentioned this robot before. Her name is Sophia. She's the world's most human robot, built in Japan, of course. She is now a painter. They have, and I have a picture of Sophia. Let's see. Oh, there's naked Bigfoot again. We don't want to look at him. Let's see. We've got, oh, there's Sophia right there. Very lovely, lovely robot.
I like her hairdo.
Yeah. You can, she has a see-through skull. She has no hair, so you can see what's all the gears whizzing. She's like a cartoon, all the gears whizzing around in her skull. It turns out that Sophia painted a picture. I have a picture of her painting. So she did a self-portrait. So I think some of these that are on her easel were rejects. But the one that she picked out that she liked the best sold at auction for, get a load of this, John, hold on to your wallet, $688,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. Here's the picture right here. If you can't pick out the one that she picked, that's her self-portrait of herself. Very, what, impressionistic, would you say? Modern art kind of thing. You can kind of see her face in there.
And it sold for over almost $700,000.
Almost $700,000. So,
Wow.
And now she's working on music. She's starting to write music and sing along to it, which, if it sells for $700,000, I can't imagine somebody would pay for robotic music that kind of money. But people buy Justin Bieber and Meatloaf albums, so maybe they will. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to go to outer space for this one, where robots go as well. And this story comes from the International Space Station. So it's 4 crew members on the International Space Station. There's a space craft dock there that they're going to be flying back on, the SpaceX Dragon. So they needed to move it to another dock. So all 4 of them get in and they start flying it around for 38 minutes before they move it over to another dock so another ship can come up. This is, I can just imagine them doing it. They're waving to the Russians that are stuck on the ship, maybe giving them the finger, honking the horn, just making them feel bad that they're not riding around, which is probably not a good thing, because the Russians would probably run over and close the garage door and not let them in. But this sounds like Star Trek. This is or Seinfeld, because it reminded me of one of the parking episodes on Seinfeld. Now I'm a big Seinfeld fan. Karen, I don't know about you, if you were.
I like them. Yeah.
Do you remember there was they had a multiple episodes about parking, either in a parking garage or parking spaces, and yet they're in New York City where nobody drives.
Right.
They were always riding the subway or walking or riding bikes. But they had the one called the parking. What was it called? The alternate side, where George had to move. His job was moving cars back and forth, because you were allowed to park on one side one night and then on one side the other night, because the garbage trucks came around.
Yep.
And Woody Allen was filming a movie and it screwed everything up for poor George. Then there was the parking space where George was driving Jerry's car and he got into an accident, and he was a fender bender. And so he pulled it back to the apartment and found a great space. So while he's backing in, another car pulls in. And the entire episode is them arguing about the proper etiquette for reserving a space. Who gets it when you pull up? Typical Seinfeld episode. And then there was the parking garage, and this was an early one, which was one of my favorites, where the 4 of them go shopping to help Kramer buy a window air conditioner. and they park in a parking garage, and Elaine buys a goldfish. So they come out, and George has to be at his parents' house, like moments after they get there for something. And Jerry has to go to the bathroom. and they can't remember where the car is. So the entire episode is them walking around this parking garage, Kramer sweating, finding a place to hide his air conditioner, Jerry looking for a place to do his business in the garage because he can't find a bathroom. And of course he gets seen, and he and George get taken to the office and get a fine, and the goldfish dies, and they finally get out. and then my favorite, the Briss. Karen, I mentioned this one for you. The famous Briss episode where Jerry, I think, was the godfather of this baby. So they go to the hospital to visit the mother after she's giving birth. And George again parks the car, and he's so excited because he found a space right in front of the hospital building. And while they're inside, a gentleman jumps off the building and lands on the car.
Oh, geez.
Oh my.
And and they blamed it on George. They said, "Oh no, this is a scam. People have been doing this. They're coming up with smashed cars and parking in front, and then saying that somebody jumped out and landed on their car and suing the hospital." So I thought, I just, that was by far. So why, how did so many parking episodes get into that show? That was my question. If anybody listening has the answer to that, I'd like to know. But in the meantime, we're going to baffle you and puzzle you with our sport for the week. And as always, I asked John to find a sport that perhaps he and I can participate in. Even though we don't move quite as fast or we jump quite as high, there's got to be some other sports that some sports that we could participate in. And John always says, no, there's not. and then he just sit down and watch TV.
There you go.
And then he goes looking, and he always finds some weird sport, often from Canada, which I believe is where the sport comes from today. John, is that correct?
That is correct, Paul. Yes, it is. And the sport for today is broomball.
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 Okay. All right. I'll let you explain. I think I said that. Is it like this, John? I've got a picture of broomball up here.
Whoa.
No, because those folks are off the ground and there's no ice.
That's right. That the first thing that came to mind when John said broomball to me was that sport that they played in Harry Potter, which I have a picture of Harry Potter playing Quidditch, which is played on a broom, chasing an aerial ball, which hence it could be called broomball. And you would think this is a fictional game, and yet there's actually, and we're going to have to talk about this in some other episode. Quidditch is a real sport played by real people, both men and women. I have a picture of some women throwing a deflated or somewhat deflated volleyball through a hoop to simulate. Oh, and they're riding on brooms, John. I don't know if you can see. I'm not going to point out where the broom is.
I can see it. Right.
It's gonna hurt riding on that broom.
Riding on a broom, running while simulating riding on a broom, while the others throw their balls through the hoop. It almost looks like dodgeball, doesn't it? It looks like they're throwing a ball at each other.
Yes, it does.
I don't know if you're allowed to use the broom as part of the sport, but I have a feeling that it accidentally could get used. So, John, I'm sorry for interrupting you there. I know this is not the broom ball of which you speak.
Yes, that's okay, Paul. No problem at all. But let me explain, though. So broomball is a recreational ice game.
A broom ball on ice. Okay.
Yes. It is played in a hockey rink, either indoors or outdoors, depending on the climate and the location. In a game of broomball, there are two teams that compete against each other, each consisting of 6 players, a goaltender, and 5 other players. The 5 other players are 2 defenders and 3 attackers. And of the attackers, there's 2 forwards and then a center.
It's almost like hockey, yeah.
Yes, sure. The object of the game is very simple. It's to score more goals than your opponent. Goals are scored by hitting the ball into the opponent's net using the broom.
Using the broom, okay. That's what the broom's for, all right.
And just as you alluded to, Paul, tactics and plays are similar to those used in sports such as ice hockey, roller hockey, and floorball.
Okay.
Okay, so as the game goes on, players hit a small ball around the ice with the stick called a broom.
The broom. Okay, I have a picture of a broom up here.
But that's with the Wicked Witch.
That's, that's I believe that's the Wicked Witch of the West with a flying monkey who could play either one of these sports. Now that I think of it,
Sure.
because it can fly, it could do very well in either in Quidditch or in broom ball. Now, I want to point out Karen, I think you know this. We have a number of witches who either watch our podcast or tune into our show, and I would do them a disservice if I didn't point out, which they would do to me, that the Wicked Witch of the West is riding the broom the wrong way. In fact, John, the proper way to ride a broom, if you're a witch, is with the straw part in the front and the handle part in the back.
Okay.
Anything other than that is sacrilegious to witches.
Well,
Something you can use in the future. Someday when you're at a party and the person coming up to you says, "Oh, by the way, I'm a witch," you can share some of your knowledge of the broom etiquette with them.
Well, thanks, Paul. That's that's a fun fact to know and then eventually tell. So very good.
And now I'm done. Go ahead.
It's okay. Well, in the drawing.
Oh, you were talking about the balls too, weren't you?
Oh, yes. But wait a minute. Back to the drawing real quick. What about the cat on the back of the witch?
Oh, and she's riding I've never seen that where the broom is, the witch is on a broom and she's got a black cat on her back.
Yeah, I've never seen
to be singing or screaming, maybe screaming.
Never seen that.
She's riding the broom backwards too.
Oh, Karen, you missed that part. That actually, according to witches, that is the proper way to ride a broom, with the straw part in the front and the stick in the back. And I'm not going to go any more into why, because this is a family show. So
That's okay.
Good.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay, so players, what they do is they'll hit a small ball around the ice with a stick called a broom. The broom may have a wooden or aluminum shaft and has a rubber molded triangular head similar in shape to that of a regular broom. Originally, an actual corn broom with bristles, either cut off or covered with tape, was what was used. But now it's either an aluminum shaft or it's a wooden handle.
They actually at one time used real brooms.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Okay, so players, they wear special rubber-soled shoes instead of ice skates, and the ice is prepared in such a way that it is smooth and dry to improve traction.
This sounds dangerous.
Well,
regular shoes on ice.
Well, yes, rubber-soled shoes.
Okay.
So, okay.
Oh, that makes a big difference on ice.
Well, you have to be able to keep your balance.
Okay.
The ball can differ whether the game is played indoors or outdoors. The indoor ball is smooth, while
I have a picture of an indoor ball.
That's an indoor ball right there.
Yeah.
And then the outdoor ball has ridges and resembles a small soccer ball.
Small soccer ball. I have a picture of an actual regulation broom ball that looks like a small soccer ball, inflate to 5 pounds, it says, and it even says broom ball on the side in case you don't know.
Yes.
God, I'm gonna answer for it, but you can get these at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a popular sport. A lot of people.
It is. Well, I'm sure you're going to get into that.
Yeah, yes, I will. So anyway, so the actual game. So a typical game is divided into either 2 or 3 periods. In some tournaments, if the score is tied after regulation time, an additional overtime period is played to determine the winner. In the overtime period, 6 players, 3 on each team, play 5 minutes without a goalie. The team that scores more goals in the overtime period is declared the winner. So it's a little bit of a twist in terms of no goalie and again
no goalie. Yeah, that's
goalie.
an odd.
Exactly. Yeah.
That might be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. From a historical perspective, there is no known fully accurate history of the origin of broomball. The First Nations peoples of Canada are believed to have passed the sport on to settlers that immigrated from Europe before 1900. The first
Native American,
right,
Native Canadians.
Yes. The first recorded broomball games in North America were held in Purdue, Saskatchewan on March 9, 1909. From Canada, the game spread south to the United States, becoming especially popular in the state of Minnesota, where by the 1960s, broomball communities were thriving throughout the state.
Minnesota, the surf band capital of America.
Yeah.
That's an interesting aside there, Paul.
Yeah. During the off season.
Sure. And then from by the 1980s, organized broomball was being played actively in Australia, Japan, Sweden, Italy, Germany, and Switzerland.
That's amazing. Considering I've never heard of this sport.
Now,
All those countries play it.
yes. Now, recognize this. There is a world governing body, of course.
There you go.
There is.
Of course, there has to be.
And again, the world governing body is the International Federation of Broomball Associations, plural. It's the IFBA, and it's the world governing body of broomball. Its headquarters are in Canada. And every 2 years, the IFBA runs the World Broomball Championships.
The picture that I have up here, John, is from the broomball championship.
Okay.
I believe this may be before the game, where the players are getting onto the ice with their sticks,
Okay.
or maybe they're singing the broomball national anthem. It's hard to tell. No one's kneeling, so I can't tell.
Yeah, not sure of that. Now, historically, the championships over the years have been dominated by the teams from North America, which is the United States and Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go USA.
Now, speaking of USA, there is a United States governing body also. The American organization recognized by the IFBA is USA Broomball. And
USA broomball. Okay.
the states that currently have governing bodies recognized by the USA Broomball are Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New York, North Dakota, and our state, Ohio.
Ohio, Michigan, and Ohio both have not just team, governing bodies.
That's right. Right. Okay. So in
Unbelievable.
odd-numbered years, Minnesota, which is the unofficial U.S. broomball capital and home to the majority of the broomball leagues and teams in the country, they host the national championships, again, in the odd-numbered years. In the even-numbered years, a different state with an officially recognized state organization hosts the tournament. Our state, Ohio, has hosted the national championships in 2006 in Westlake, Ohio, and in 2013 in Oxford, Ohio.
Did you get that, Karen?
Yeah.
The World Championships of broomball have been
Wow.
held twice in Ohio. I tried to do some research when John mentioned that. I found some ads from a skating rink in Lakewood, which borders Westlake, that advertised broomball competition, but I couldn't find anything on who won the championships when they were held in Westlake, Ohio. But this is a tough sport, John. I'm sure you're aware. These I have a picture of some players here, and
Okay.
they look like they're about to really whack that ball.
Sure. This
but,
player's
you know,
lined
like-
up here for sure. Yeah.
Taking a baseball swing at the ball, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you see in hockey. So
No.
they do have helmets on, and like catchers, the
Yeah, it
protective
looks like a
gear,
catcher's
like a
mask.
catcher's
catcher's
helmet.
mask.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So broomball is also played again at many universities, and that's played at the Miami University in Ohio, Iowa State University, the University of Notre Dame, Michigan Technological University, the University of Texas at Austin, Rochester Institute of Technology, the University of Chicago, University of Nebraska at Lincoln, and also Boston University.
Big schools.
Oh, yeah.
Big schools. Notre Dame, UT, Texas.
Sure.
Boston College. Yeah. Boston University. I'm sorry. Boston University. And
Mhm.
Miami.
Yes.
This is I have another picture up here. This is a tough sport. The picture I have is of people sprawled on the ice with their sticks out, still chasing after the broom ball, I guess it would be called. This is unbelievable. Now, John mentioned Miami University. So when I heard that Miami, when I was trying to find something on Westlake, I did find some pictures of the Miami University broomball team, which is a co-ed team. They actually have two teams, one men's team and one co-ed team. They play in the Cincinnati Broomball Association. So as John mentioned, every state has associations. They also go to the Broomball National Tournament. And believe it or not, they won the Broomball National Tournament collegiate level in 2016 and 2017. I'm sure that the football team made room in their trophy cabinet for the Broomball trophy.
I'm sure.
Oh, Lord.
And some of the it's a picture of some of the girls on the team. You know, they all have. You're right, John. It looks like the new catcher's helmets with the cage.
Yeah, the catcher's helmet. Right.
Yeah. So it looks like a brutal sport. They are they won the national championship in 2016, 2017, and it's a club sport. It's not a school sponsored sport, but still, it still counts. So good sport, broomball. That was not one I expected, John. Thank you so much for another odd a sport we kind of could participate in. Maybe
we probably could hack our way through it, right? And,
yeah, I don't know if I'd play on grass, or maybe on a trampoline.
It would be safer.
Something like a wrestling mat, maybe.
Well, look at it this way, though. You don't have to ice skate. You would just basically have those shoes, right? Those rubber shoes.
We already have shoes. Yeah, we've got the shoes. I've got the broom too.
I don't know if I can skate very well anymore. But
one last thing, I did find the next generation of broomball, and I want to mention that before we move on to our game. And here you go. This is the next generation of broomball. This is broomball being played by robot vacuum cleaners. So instead of brooms, they're using robot vacuum cleaners to bounce the ball around between goals.
Wow.
How about that? Terrible picture. There must have been a Bigfoot in there somewhere.
My vacuum cleaner would lose.
Yours would be the goalie. It
would still lose.
So anyway, thank you again, John, for that great sport. John, at the end of sports, that means it's time to play everybody's favorite What in the World trivia game, Bluff the Co-Host, where I have 3 strange news stories, maybe real, maybe a bluff. That's the difference between those and the ones I've been telling all afternoon. And it's up to John and Karen and everybody playing at home in the live or in the future. See if you can tell if these stories are real or not. I believe that I won last week. I know that doesn't happen very often, so I'm going to mention that. But anyways, I expect you guys both to do much better this week.
Okay.
So let's go with story number 1, which has a robot to it as well, to go along with our theme here. So hands on the buzzer. We have robots that pick things off of warehouse shelves for shipping. We have robots that stick swabs up your nose for virus tests. Now, a robotics company in Japan has combined those 2 technologies to develop a robot that will pick your nose for you.
Oh, geez.
Designed to be used by surgeons who don't want to stop an operation to pick their nose and have to get sanitized again, the nose-picking robot could become popular with heavy equipment operators who don't want to lose control of their dangerous machines, pilots who don't want to take their hands off of their joystick, and competitive video game players. The robot's finger has a sophisticated guidance system to penetrate a moving nose and sensors to detect if it is causing any pain or discomfort. Of course, it also has a tiny vacuum to dispose of the removed snot. The nose-picking robot will be available this summer. All right, Karen, from Japan, the nose-picking robot. I know you don't like your Roomba, But you might like it more if it could pick your nose. What do you
No,
think?
no. And this better not be true because a surgeon having this working on him while he's performing surgery, no. So I'm gonna say it's a
What
bluff.
if he's got an itch? What's he gonna
The
do?
nurse scratches it for him.
Okay. Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I have to agree with Karen. It's got to be a bluff. I just don't see it.
Don't see it.
I just
Don't
don't see
see it. Should I simulate it for you? No, I won't do
No.
that.
No, please don't, Paul.
There you go. Okay. Well, guess what? You're both right. That was a bluff.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Way to go, Karen. Good job.
Okay. All right. Woo, very good. So you're both tied. Let's move on to story number 2. After winning his 7th Super Bowl, Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady was being called a GOAT, as in greatest of all time. And as proof, his rookie football card with Tom's autograph on it recently sold for $2.25 million. Wanting to get in on the GOAT card action, a group of goat farmers in England have photographed their cutest kids, the goat kind, and put their faces on G-GOAT cards for the greatest goat of all time, which they're hoping will one day make them millionaires just like Tom. The cards are already popular at local fairs where human kids buy and collect them, hoping they own that year's blue ribbon goat card, which boosts its value. Hoping to cash in on the other contest, some farmers named their kids Tom Brady, but they were banned from competition because there can only be one greatest of all time.
Oh.
So the goat farmers in England who put the pictures of their kids on trading cards and sell them at fairs. John, what do you say?
Paul, I'm going to have to go with my comment from the first, from our first question. I just don't see that either. I mean, I just don't. I'm going to say it's a bluff.
You don't see it, or you wouldn't collect them?
Neither.
Okay, pass up a chance on $1 million sale there. Go ahead, John. What about you, Karen? John
Well,
says it's a bluff.
farmers in England aren't really into football. Okay. So this football card, this goat card, whatever, wouldn't even be part of their dialogue. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Football is getting around, Everybody knows who Tom Brady is, the GOAT.
I didn't.
Well, there you go. Okay. On that note, let's see. What was that story? Guess what? You're both right. That was a bluff.
All right.
Man.
Good.
How the mighty have fallen and risen.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's 2. That means it's 2-2. You're both tied.
Okay.
Points are double. It doesn't really matter. Whoever gets this one is the greatest of all time.
That's right.
How about that? Okay. Let's move on to story number 3. Beachgoers in Sweden, Denmark, Poland, Lithuania, and other countries bordering the Baltic Sea who were tired of being cooped up all winter headed for the beaches. Immediately terror after seeing great white sharks swimming towards the shore like in the movie Jaws. While the Baltic has no great white sharks, it does have some smaller sharks, but these were like nothing anyone had ever seen before, unless you're a sailor in the Russian Navy. It turns out the Russian Navy was holding exercises to test their new unmanned robotic submarines that are shaped like great white sharks to keep the curious swimmers and dumb fish from bothering them on missions. Unfortunately, there were still some glitches in the software, and a few of the robot great whites wandered from their Russian ships and ended up on the beaches of other Baltic countries. No one was hurt, and no international incidents were started after the Russian Navy caught all of the robotic sharks and apologized. Real or bluff, Karen? The robotic sharks that scared people on Baltic Sea beaches.
I can't see the Russians making robotic sharks. They can scare
Russia.
people.
We're talking about the Russians here, Karen.
They can scare people just by looking at them.
Whoa, send all your complaint emails to Karen at newclevelandradio.net.
I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Karen says the robotic great white sharks are a bluff. Whoa. And Russians, she sends her apology. We don't
Yes,
want
I
any
do. I do.
Okay. John, how about you?
I'm going to go on a limb on this one. I want to say it's true.
John says it's true. This way somebody's going to win, right? If John says one thing and Karen says another.
That's
You
right.
say that the Russians are crafty enough to make robotic great white sharks. I guess he agrees.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, guess what, Karen? You're going home the goat. That was a bluff. That was 3 bluffs for all this week for a
Wow.
change. How about that? And
very good,
Karen
Karen.
got all of them. Very good. John, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as Meatloaf used to say.
I'll take that, Paul. I'll take that. I'll take that result for today. Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't pay $700,000 for that song, but to get that close to winning, that's the way it goes. So anyways, I believe that we have come to the end of another What in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our co-host and producer, and the media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Everybody go visit newclevelandradio.net, listen, find out how to download What in the World. But while you're there, also listen to all the great podcasts that Karen had, including Aunt Frida. Good luck, Aunt Frida. I'm looking forward to listening to your podcast as well. And I'll thank my old friend John Dinalo, our sports guy and color commentary. Thanks again, John, for a great sport.
You're welcome,
He had a
Paul.
great sport as well.
Oh, thanks, Paul. It's a lot of fun every week.
Every week, that's right. And now we're going to go watch the Indians. Do the Indians play today? I think they're off.
Tomorrow.
Indians are off today. Play tomorrow.
Play tomorrow. Okay, so
Tomorrow afternoon, early game. So
we'll be suffering
Be
through
prepared.
another game, I guess. So anyways, but you don't have to suffer when you watch What in the World. So please download the podcast. If you do a follow or a like or all the things that you're supposed to do, so we know that you're listening. I believe Karen has made arrangements to where you can tune in,
and be part of it,
be part of our live show.
right?
So you can participate, you can send questions, comments, all that good stuff. Play Buff, the co-host, with us. So watch her Facebook page. I'll try to put some information up there as well. So we'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I'll say
Have a great day.
see you next week.
Bye-bye, everybody.